Billy Ray, welcome back.
It's an honor to be with you.
Always good to see you.
Thank you.
You always look younger than me, which, given you're 3 years older than me, is annoying. What's the secret?
Really no secret. Just try to, stay healthy.
Punishing, grueling gym sessions like I have to?
No, I wish I did. I wish I did. I just, I try to just eat as well as possible and take care of myself. I go on a lot of walks. I like to walk with my dogs, and we'll walk for miles. When
I read the book, it's funny you say that, because I can imagine you walking and thinking a lot. You dedicate the book to dreamers. I've never seen that dedication before. I can imagine you out there dreaming a lot. Why dreaming?
Well, especially as a kid growing up in Kentucky, it was a lot in my mind to dream about. There was a lot of adversities. Times were tough, and that's why when I initially read the book Think and Grow Rich at age 18 years old and thought, wow, there's people that chart a course in life. They set goals and they move from one spot to the next, instead of being hopelessly adrift at sea, waiting on the next shift of wind or the current to change. It's people that charted a course, and that turned me on about reaching dreams. And I was kind of hoping to share some of that philosophy in this book, Hillbilly Heart, part of the reason I wrote it.
And when you were that 18-year-old Billy Ray, what was the big dream?
Well, when I was 18 years old, the big dream for me was to be Johnny Bench. I wanted to be the next catcher for the Cincinnati Reds. But it wasn't long after that. A couple years after that, I started feeling this feeling inside, and I describe it as a voice within. It was that moment of, it was a gut feeling, you might say, of buy a guitar and start a band, and through your music, God will use your life to touch other people's lives around the world. And
this thing with Justin Bieber, he's been having a sort of chaotic few months, if you like, growing pains of Justin Bieber. You've been through all this yourself. You've been through it with Miley. What do you feel about Justin?
I like him. I think that it's tough to be his age and, to be in the middle of that rocket ride, and it can go crazy no matter what you do. Somebody's going to find something wrong with it, or there's always going to be an opposite and equal reaction. You can't have a career like that so many people love you that passionately. There's got to be a flip side to that.
Having been through it yourself, when Miley began to rock it, and she really did rock it, I mean, she was just as big as Bieber is now. When that happened, did you sit down with her and give her the life lesson about this is what's going to happen and these are the pitfalls?
You know what? I think it was more about, with Miley growing up under the circus tent of my life, realizing that, again, that's, in this business, the higher you go, the further you fall. Knowing that in entertainment, there's the good side of it, that anything you can dream, you can be, have, or do, and it can go really, really high. But the bad news is Kris Kristofferson said to me, the turkey with the longest neck's going to be the one everybody's shooting at. And, you kind of got to be prepared for that reaction. There's two sides of the sword. What's
been the hardest part of that for you personally? What was the toughest moment when you look back?
Looking back at my life, some of the adversities I faced as a kid, to be honest, early on. My mom and dad got divorced. The chapter 1 is called Life Ain't Fair. It was that moment where my dad pulled to the side of the road. I asked him why everything was messed up, and he pulled over and looked me in the eyes and said, "Son, life ain't fair." As soon as you realize that, you can move on, but you got to just understand it just ain't fair.
Life isn't fair, but life's pretty good, I would say, for most of the time for you. I mean, when I read it, there's a sense of warmth. There's a lovely quote, actually, from Dolly Parton on the back. First time I met Billy Ray, I felt like I'd known him all my life. I still feel the same way today. There's a warm feeling in his heart and a sweet thought on my mind. He seems like family to me. I sort of feel that about you. I mean, I don't know you that well, but every time I've met you, I feel that. You've got a very nice demeanour about you. You're very humble, genuinely, and you radiate a kind of warmth. I know exactly what Dolly meant. Where do you get that from? Your parents, or?
Thank you very much for saying that, and it was an honor. Dolly's been a great friend. It's been an honor to get to know her as professionally and personally. You know, I think it's my parents, it was a way of being raised to treat others the way you want to be treated. And as ye sow, so shall you reap. That's the laws of life.
Billy, it's been a very tough time for America the last few years. You know, a great economic crisis causing great financial hardship to many people. Some appalling mass shootings in Aurora at Sandy Hook. You come from a part of America where the gun culture is very prevalent. Most people grow up with guns around them in the home for hunting, for shooting, for sport and so on. But there is an epidemic of gun violence in America. What is your take on it?
Well, Piers, you may recall, I was here in New York City when Newtown happened, ironically, and for some reason there seems to never be coincidences in my life. I'm on Broadway in Chicago playing Billy Flynn singing a song about the gun. You got the gun, the gun, the gun, you got the gun. I'm singing that, the gun, the gun, the gun. That's the song I'm singing as that day unfolded into that terror from hell and these broken hearts everywhere. And that sadness and that feeling of why does hatred have to, why does it have to be taking over so much? That being said, I don't see anything wrong with having a background check. You know, I've got kids, you got kids. I think a background check is a really good idea at this point. I mean, it's gotten to the point now that we got to act. We got to do something. We can't stand by and just watch this happen over and over and over again. It's, I think a background check's a good idea.
Billy Ray, it's a very honest book. It's called Hillbilly Heart. It's a memoir. Terrific read. Good to see you.
Thank you. You too. You're a gentleman.
We'll be right back.